Hawthorne Board of Education regular meeting is called to order. New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the rights of the public to have advance notice of and the attendance of a meeting of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provision of this act, the business administrator, board secretary, has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place therefore posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building, communicated to the Hawthorne Press, and filed with the clerk of the Borough of Hawthorne. Roll call, please.
Mr. Pavino?
Here.
Mr. Doyle?
Here.
Ms. Goff?
Here.
Mr. Palouse?
Here.
Mr. Reicher?
Here.
Ms. Sanford?
Here.
Ms. Troglia?
Here.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Scarrow?
Here. Please join me for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
During each regular meeting, 2 opportunities are provided for citizens to ask questions and to make comments. During the first opportunity, early on in the agenda, the meeting is open to the public for the purpose of addressing items listed for approval on this agenda only. The second opportunity occurs just prior to adjournment, when citizens may address any subject matter that is pertinent to and directly related to the operation of the school district. Persons wishing to speak upon being recognized must rise, sign in, state their name and address, and the subject matter. Comments and questions shall be addressed to the board president or presiding officer and shall be limited to 5 minutes per person. The board may or may not respond to issues raised by the members of the public at the time they are raised, but will provide a response if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of the individuals when speaking. Please note that the board will not respond to comments regarding students or board employees in light of their privacy rights held by those individuals. Moreover, the board discusses comments about such individuals and will not be responsible for such comments. Members of the public who choose to speak during the public session should carefully consider their comments, since they could be held as personally liable for any statements they make. Finally, please note, in accordance with the district policy, the board will not officially comment or respond to any matter mentioned unless it can confirm that the matter has first been brought to the attention of the appropriate school personnel in the attempt to resolve the issue. Public be heard, agenda items only. Seeing no one, I want to entertain approval for the minutes for October 16th regular meeting.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Pavino?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Palouse?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Mr. Troglia?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Scarrow?
Yes. We had no correspondence, so we're going to head on to the reports. I understand that we're missing Elizabeth Fitter tonight, so Mr. Sprito is going to fill in and give us his report and a little bit of Elizabeth Fitter's report.
So I will, yes, thank you. I'll share kind of together a little bit of mine and piggyback with Elizabeth's report. I'll start with hers, just with some information she shared in regard to events in November. Since this November has been a whirlwind for the student body of Hawthorne High School. Due to the snow, the 8th grade orientation was moved to Monday last night. We welcomed families of current 8th graders to talk to members of every club, explore the broadcasting, culinary, and art rooms, and meet our coaches and teachers. The Italian Club went to Arthur Avenue yesterday to learn about the history of Italian Americans in New York and taste some of the delicious food in the area. I got some cannolis brought home to me. It was great. I enjoyed them very much. Did you? The Ecology Club had the opportunity to go to Roosevelt School to educate 3rd graders on the importance of recognizing climate change, and from what I heard, it was a success. Today, the media arts students enjoyed a field trip to the Museum of Moving Image and saw the history and influence of filmmaking across the world. Student Council is now selling Christmas ornaments in the shape of New Jersey for $5, as well as new baseball tees. Make sure to stop by. Board members of the Student Council has the privilege of meeting with Mr. Sprito and Ms. Rousseau to discuss our favorite aspects and ways to improve the school while eating delicious bogeys hoagies, thanks to Mr. Spirito. Holiday dance and chocolate fundraiser for the Italian trip ended on Monday, and Ms. Russo won the Bear Award this month. And so, I don't know, if those of you don't know what the Bear Award is, I'll tell you what that is. So Mr. Cunningham, as part of his Culture and Climate Committee that he established, he has established something called the Bear Award. And every month, he sends out, as part of his notification email, he sends out a link that anyone can go online and vote for their favorite teacher, someone who's made an impact on them or influenced them in a positive way. And at the end of the month, actually the faculty meeting at the beginning of the following month, he awards the Bear Award to whoever got the most votes. So, and every month he's done that. So Mr. Van Winkle won, I think, the first month, Ms. Russo won in the second month. So it's just a nice addition to positive culture at the school. So Ms. Russo has officially is the Bear Award winner for this month. And Elizabeth says here, and it is well deserved for all the hard work she puts in with the student body. Okay, I'll just finish her report and then I'll go into mine. She also talks about athletics. Girls tennis finished with one of their most successful seasons ever, finishing second in the division and advancing to the second round of the state tournament. Boys soccer finished their season with a tough loss in the state tournament to Lenape Valley. Football hosted Mountain Lakes in the first round of the state tournament and came up just a little bit short in a thrilling game, losing 28-20. Volleyball hosted 2 rounds of the state tournament, beating Saddlebrook, and actually traveled, and also defeated Cedar Grove. She says here Coach Mazaka picked up her 100th career victory, and Emma Matthews reached 1,000 career assists. The volleyball team advanced to the sectional semifinals at Kinnelon. Unfortunately, they were defeated by Kinnelon. Girls soccer finished a fantastic season, and if you didn't hear, they actually lost in the finals, the state sectional finals, to Midland Park. They not only went to 2 overtime periods, but they actually lost in a penalty kick period. So they went to 2 10-minute overtimes and then to penalty kicks. And unfortunately, just came up a little bit short, but they had a great season. She says it was a very successful fall season, and it will cap off with our Fall Sports Awards on Monday, November 26th at 7:30 p.m. Boys basketball started on Monday, and girls basketball and winter track start next Monday. The marching band is currently preparing to play at the tree lighting on November 30th and the Santa Parade on December 1st. They've also hosted their annual pasta dinner on October 18th, which was a great success. On October 26th, they hosted 7th and 8th grade LMS students for a rehearsal and the homecoming football game to show them all about the events of the marching band at the high school. Inside the school, the high school library is highlighting Military Appreciation Month in November with displays and giveaways featuring our military history and heroes. This is also the month for celebrating famous November birthday authors, including Mark Twain, Louisa May Alcott, Jonathan Swift, C.S. Lewis, Robert Louis Stevenson, and more. The library has become the go-to space for many classes who seek project space daily. There are groups that work on tables, green screen filming area, checkers, chess, Scrabble, and jigsaw puzzles are always available to entice students away from their cell phones. The National Honor Society has settled into the library for its after-school tutoring of LMS students each day. So that's something new this year that we started, that we were actually offering. Our high school National Honor Society students are offering tutoring services for our Lincoln Middle School students. So some of our Lincoln Middle School students are actually coming up to the high school to be tutored by our National Honor Society students. Makerspace lunchtime workshops continue to be offered, and they offer a variety of hands-on projects that promote critical thinking and collaborative projects. This month, workshops included 3D model printing, 3D doodler pen, foam printmaking, knitting, crocheting, and lunchtime book talk discussion about books focusing on family relationships. This month's Tuesday with Teachers Professional Learning Community offered lessons on Destiny, which is a library management system, on the HHS Teacher Resource website created for each department, on using 3D printers for classroom assignments, and on using the virtual reality goggles for exploring the curriculum outside the classroom walls. The Christmas Carol, which is the fall production, is coming up in just a few weeks, starting on December 5th for seniors and December 6th for everyone else. I look forward to seeing what I am sure to be an amazing performance. All right, so that's Elizabeth's report. In terms of my report, just a few things I wanted to share. First of all, I wanted to mention that Kathy Hellawell will be here next month to talk about the new superintendent evaluation. There is a new tool that is required that we use this year, so I attended the session, actually. Mike and I were down, Mike Sciarra and I were down at school boards. I attended the session on the superintendent evaluation. It was recommended to us that we have our school board rep come to a meeting and discuss the elements of this new evaluation. I think I gave everyone the booklets that go with that a few months ago, actually. But Kathy, I think, is going to be bringing some additional books that everyone will have one again if you need one. It's definitely a little more detailed. There's more to the process than in years past. So I thought it was a good idea for her to come, and she'll be here in December. You've probably seen, I've sent it out twice now just to make sure everyone has received it. There's a new process for recognizing our teachers here in Hawthorne. In years past, they participated in the Governor Educator of the Year process. We kind of got away from that, and that was partly because we had conversations with the teachers, and we really chose to have our own internal process. And the reason for that was the Governor Educator of the Year process was a very cumbersome process. There was a lot to it. There was a lot of paperwork that went with it. So the teachers were comfortable just doing something internally on our own. The only downside of that is they do not have an opportunity to be recognized at the county or state level. So in speaking with the association leadership, I said to them, look, I'm happy to do whatever you guys want to do, but I would love to see, I mean, such great teachers here, and I'd love to see some of them get some recognition outside of Hawthorne. And they're not eligible for that recognition unless we participate in this process, which is why we switched. So the difference for us is that this process starts now. We can't wait until February or March when we normally start. So we have to start the process now. I have to have nominations back at the beginning of December. I have to form a committee with association members to then review the nominations. So there's a whole, like I said, it's a lot more detailed than what we used to do. But again, I think it's important because I really would like to see our teachers have an opportunity to get some recognition outside of our district, okay? So I'll keep you updated. I mean, right now, I actually sent a reminder out today because I sent one out November 7th. I sent another reminder today to just everyone in the community, the teachers as well, just to nominate, go on and nominate teachers. I included the link. So hopefully we'll get some nominations. And then, like I said, I'll keep you updated as to the timeline of how this will all play out. I still anticipate that we will honor or recognize those teachers in May. We can still do that. That won't change for us. We can still have come to the May board meeting, but prior to that, there's a lot of steps that have to be, things we have to do prior to that. Okay, 8th grade orientation. Again, I know Elizabeth mentioned it. I thought last night went very well. Unfortunately, the weather didn't cooperate with us last week, but overall, I thought last night went very well. We had a decent turnout. The feedback was very positive. I spoke to a lot of parents last night. Very positive feedback on, we had all of our clubs in the cafeteria, all of our sports teams were in the gym. We did a little introductory assembly in the auditorium, which included a video, which was created by our broadcasting class. We had parents walk through our art room, TV studio, into the cafeteria, into the gym, and into our culinary room. Ms. Tucker had some treats, some cookies for everybody, and some cornbread. So overall, I thought it was a very positive night. In terms of our fall sports teams, I'm not going to reiterate everything that Elizabeth shared. She shared a lot of detailed information. All I'll say is I thought we had a really extremely positive fall season, not just in terms of wins and losses, but our kids. I say this every year, but our kids continue to make me proud as a superintendent because the way they conduct themselves. You know, whether it's a win or a loss, our kids always handle themselves extremely well. They show great sportsmanship. So I continue to reiterate that, and I'll tell them that at the Fall Sports Awards on Monday. I'll remind them of how proud that makes me as a superintendent. Not just that they play hard on the field, because they do. I can tell you, every game I went to this year, our kids they play right to the end. They don't give up, that's for sure. But they do it in a very respectful and in a way that it represents us very well. So I appreciate that, and I just want to congratulate all of our sports teams for their success this year. Okay, and one other thing I want to mention. So we started a district safety and security committee, and I think I may have mentioned this to the board that I was going to be starting this. Based on my training over the summer at the School Safety Specialist Academy that I attended over the summer, Art Mazzaka and I, who attended it together, we were talking and just kind of trying to figure out the best way to get this information that we learn out to every school, as opposed to us going to every building and talking to every staff about some of the things we want to change. We thought it would be better to get representatives from every school to come together once a month and talk about our current safety and security plan and make revisions as we feel necessary based on the training we've received so far and the additional training that we're going to attend. I actually just went to another training last Thursday, and it was another, just another security training. There was actually a woman from the Virginia Tech shooting. She was actually involved in that event down at Virginia Tech. She was actually shot in the back. She was there. She survived. She spoke about the event. And there was the person who was the head of security at Virginia Tech, just talking about security at the college level. But there's some things that you can take back with you, definitely, for our purposes. So what we decided to do was, let's form a committee, an internal committee, a district-wide committee, that we can have these conversations. And what we have is we have 2 representatives from every school. We have administrative representation from every level. We have 2 members of the Hawthorne Police Department on the committee. Tanya was serving as our board rep. She had her interest in that, so she's serving on that committee as well. And we've had 1 meeting so far. We're going to meet once a month. And what we're going to do is travel to each school. And not only travel to each school and talk about security in each building, but in the process, we're going to talk about our current emergency management plan and look at what we can do to revise it, change it, based on the training that we received. So we're sharing everything through a Google Doc. Everyone has access to that Google Doc. I put up all the agendas, all the minutes, all the notes I've taken, any handouts that I've received, and it become like a resource for the committee to review and then compare to our current plan and make changes as necessary. So far we've had 1 meeting. We're meeting again this month at the high school, next Monday actually, at the high school. And then from there, we're going to start meeting at every building to look at some of the concerns that each school has. Are there certain areas of the building that they have concerns about in regard to security? So it gives us a chance to kind of see each building, talk about security at every school, but in the process, at the end of the year, we'll have a revised, what we're going to call a school safety or district safety and security plan that will encompass everything we want it to encompass. All right, so just want to keep you updated on that. I'm excited about that. I think it's a great thing. I think the committee, we have a great committee. Like I said, I think the only other person I left out on that committee, we have Scott Verone, who's representing our security guards as well. So we have representation for teachers, administrators, police department, board, and our security team. All right. Okay, so that's that. The only other thing I wanted to mention, and I put a new one on the table today in front of you, was the proposed calendar for next year. Pretty similar to this year, and I put a new one because it was pointed out that I actually had a mistake on there in regard to when Thanksgiving. I originally had it the week of the 18th, which I had it listed as the 21st. It's actually on the 28th, so that way I corrected it. So the correct one has Thanksgiving on the 28th of November. But basically it's similar to this year. 2 days of professional development for teachers on the 3rd and 4th of September. Teachers would start on the 5th. October, we have our Columbus Day, Professional Development Day. I do have, in this calendar, us closed on Election Day. All right, so that wouldn't be an issue next year. We'd be closed again for Teachers Convention with conferences the following week. Of course, Thanksgiving at the end of the month in November. You see our winter, Christmas and winter recess there in December. We would come back on January 2nd. We have our half professional development day on January 20th. Our winter recess in February, for 3 days in February. April recess on April 6th through 10th. That does encompass part of Passover. Passover actually starts on the 8th, so it's the beginning of Passover. It does continue into the following week, and then Good Friday is on the 10th of April. In May, we have Memorial Day, and then our last day of school would be June 19th, with 3 half days at the end of the year. The only other thing that I'm considering, this year we actually have a 1-session day in March, an early dismissal for students, and a half PD day for staff in March. What I was thinking, if we're going to close on Election Day, and I know some districts have done this because they're closing, is have professional development on that day as opposed to in March. The nice part about that is now you have professional development in September, October, and November, early in the year, so that all the things that we're learning and practicing can be used throughout the school year. So that is something I did include on here. If you see on November 5th on the bottom, it says Election Day, half professional development day. And what I thought we could do there is, obviously we wouldn't use every building. Maybe you could use high school or Jefferson School where there isn't, they don't have voting. Or maybe a combination of the two, so it wouldn't be, parking wouldn't be an issue for people who are coming to vote, but it wouldn't be the issues that we're having in Roseville, a lot of traffic. So something we can consider, but I'm strongly considering that for next year in lieu of the March day. We no longer have that half day in March and half professional development day. All right. And that's it, unless you have any questions or comments about the calendar.
I just have a question about the calendar, just something, now I don't know if this makes sense, but something to consider. Since we're closed for Election Day,
Yes.
I'm just throwing this out there, I'm not saying it's a good idea, is since February break is so short, would it ever be possible to take 2 days off of February break, since it's only 3 days anyway, and take November 3rd and November 6th off? So you'd be
Take the whole
closed,
week off.
closed the whole week, and my thought behind this is, come to school Monday, you're off school Tuesday, come to school Wednesday, off school Thursday, Friday. That it's tough.
How much you gonna learn?
Yeah, well, I was thinking,
Go ahead.
do we need 3 days of conferences for the elementary school? Could
It's
we do
in
it
the
in
contract.
Could we do half day Monday the 4th, then the second half of the day the 5th, and half day the 6th, so that week is a wash, and have a full week the next week?
Oh, you're saying if we're gonna do PD on the 5th?
Yeah, do PD in the morning, and then have the second half of the day be conferences. So it would be the same as if the kids were in half-day school, but they're not in school at all. Because just to build some momentum, the following week, it's a full week, another full week, and then,
You get in the same boat with traffic and, it's a good, I understand what you're saying.
I don't think that, I mean, it would be ebbing and flowing, I don't think it would be, it was the perfect storm this year.
It was.
Of the blue wave and the traffic, the dumpster and the back being, I mean, it was, there are circumstances I don't think are going to exist next year. And everyone won't be there at the same time.
Right, true.
It will be intermittent, just so that the 13, 14, 15 could be full days, but the conferences could take, because that's what we did this year, right? Those first 3 days
That's,
were
to
half.
be honest with you, that's why I like doing it that first week. for
I like
that
it too,
reason. Yeah,
because it's already shot.
That week's already, I agree with you. It's not an ideal situation, and then you have a
They're
big.
not.
I'm sorry?
The kids aren't really learning.
No.
No, I understand, which is why I like exactly that reason. I like having conferences that first week, and then you come back to a full week of instruction. There's less distraction, I agree with you.
It wouldn't alter your PD
Yeah,
plan.
let me think about that. I just don't know how the association would feel about some people staying and some people not. So if we did PD and the elementary teachers had to stay, and the other teachers got to leave, I don't know how they would You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I have to think about it. Let me think about that. I hear your point. It's a valid
Right,
point.
it's in the best interest of the children to do it that way, so I would hope that they would be able to see that point.
Can you argue too that the older ones that don't have conferences are working full days the following week when they were, you know what I mean, like?
Right, they're still gonna have to
They're
work
still
a
gonna
full
do
day,
their
and the other
hours.
people are working a half day anyway.
Well, yes and no, because you're right, they only have kids a half day, but they're still staying for conferences. They're all staying the same amount of time that following week. You know what I mean?
But the high
Right, but
school's not,
those people are gonna stay
Middle school's
the
not.
following week, whether they stay the following week or they stay the half, you know what I mean? Either week, they're gonna stay for conferences.
No, but what I'm saying, right,
Either week, and then the other
I
ones are
hear
not
you.
gonna stay no matter which day it is.
no, they don't have half days, the middle school, high school.
right,
Right, so they're not gonna, they're just regular days anyway.
But it's a full day.
Right, but they're both there for a full day, is what I'm saying. So in other words,
They don't have half days.
I'm a middle school teacher, I'm teaching all day, you're an elementary teacher, you're teaching part of the day and doing conferences part of the day.
So it's still
But
full
we're all
days.
there full day, is what I'm saying.
Right.
but some of those elementary school teachers are staying past that, they're staying into the night.
At night, yeah.
Till
I
8 p.m.
understand, I'm not sure how they'll respond to that idea, that's all I'm saying. Listen, I agree with you, I don't like doing it the
Mhm.
following week. It's very, I mean, the month's already chopped up with
Can't we
teachers
just do,
gonna,
can we do 2 days the first week and then just at least even do one, and then you'll still have 4.5 days, you know what I mean, the following week, instead of still
Yeah.
take
Do
advantage
Monday,
of
Wednesday,
Monday,
and
Wednesday,
then
yeah, forget the
Monday.
PD, forget the voting, you know, we won't put that in the
that's not a
plan.
bad idea. Do
But
Yeah.
just do Monday,
Monday,
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
and
and the following Monday or something.
Yeah, or the following Friday, for people who
Following
work,
Friday.
you know what I mean, people work and maybe not everybody can get off on a Monday,
Okay.
switch
That's
it
not
off,
a
make
bad
it a
thought.
different day.
I think that would be,
Right, and then you don't have that issue anymore.
yes, that's not a bad idea.
And then you don't worry about the voters, you don't worry about the
Monday, Wednesday, and the
parking.
following Monday or something. Okay.
You have more momentum that way for learning than you
Oh,
do
agreed,
this way.
100%. Okay.
And I also want to thank you for building 4 days of snow days into next year's calendar as well. I mean, seeing as we've already had one. I'm thankful we did it for this year, and I mean, I don't see a point in not going forward with that, so thank you.
No problem. And it was unfortunate that day. We were ready to go. I'll be honest, I talked to Scott early that morning, about 5 o'clock in the morning, and the schools were ready. And then unfortunately, we got that second wave of
Yeah, no.
ice and snow and everything else, so it's just,
It was the right
It
call.
was definitely.
It was the right call. A lot of, my
Absolutely.
school too did the same thing. A lot of schools did that just because
it's
it's
just
not.
the timing of it
Yep.
just was difficult, so it's what it is. But, yeah. Okay, that's all. Thank you, Dick.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Okay, curriculum instruction, Ms. Scott.
Pursuant to the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Committee on Curriculum Instruction recommends the following resolutions. CI1 on page 3, continued on to page 4, CI2 through CI9 on page 4, continued on to page 5. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Palooz?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Mr. Troglia?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Fabiha?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Motion carries. Yes. Motion carries. Personnel, right back at you, Ms. Scott.
The following resolutions are pursuant to the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. P10 through P20 on page 5, P21 through P24 on page 6, and P38 through P46 on the agenda. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Discussion?
Second. Good one.
Okay, discussion.
I have one. On P23, substitute nurse, is that an additional nurse to the ones we already have, or should we replace this?
We only have Carol Turner.
Should we replace it?
No, it's just additional. Carol Turner works quite a bit, and there are actually times where we need more than Carol Turner because somebody's going on a trip or, there's a lot. So it's rare to have more than one. It's hard to find some nurses, it really is. So this position should be in our sub list. And again, it's like a regular substitute teacher, but having 2 sub nurses is invaluable.
Okay, thank you.
Any Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Ms. Traglia?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Garrett?
Yes, motion carries. Finance Administration, Mr. Clivio.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have some donations, acceptance of donations paid. Acceptance of a donation of 2 TVs for the STEM lab valued at $685.04 from the Lincoln Middle School PTO. B, acceptance of a donation of Gaga Ball Court valued at $4,300 from the Lincoln Middle School PTO for use at recess, intramurals, and physical education classes. C, acceptance of a donation of $2,003 for the purchase of a drone kit for the STEM program for the New Era, from New Era Converting Machinery Incorporated. And last but not least, D, acceptance of a donation of $20,000 from Columbia Bank for the renovation of the culinary rooms at Hawthorne High School. Thank you, donors, for your generosity. Action items on page 7. Pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Finance and Administration recommends the following resolutions. F-25 through H-32. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Discussion?
If I could just quickly comment on the one donation. Well, I want to thank everybody for their donations, but the donation from Columbia, just to let you know why we're doing the culinary room. So Columbia came to us, told us that they had some money to donate to us. They were going to give us $20,000. We had conversation with them about where they would like to see it. Were there certain restrictions, requirements, things that they were looking for us to do. We had talked about everything from scoreboards to classrooms to whatever. So we kind of threw some ideas out to them. They loved the idea of this culinary, because we told them we had a culinary room. We really felt that it needed a facelift. They loved the idea. So they said, we think that's the best way to go. We told them we put a plaque in the room just to recognize them for their donation. And I have to thank the high school PTO.
I actually have your check.
Okay, so hold on to it, but, so the money couldn't come directly to us, it had to go through a 501c3, so the PTO was kind enough to accept that check on our behalf, and then will be donated back to the school district, so I want to thank them. I figured that's why
I
you're
was
here.
looking.
That's a
Like that at $20,000.
Oh,
So, that was it, thank you.
anyone else? I have a quick question, maybe somebody can answer.
Sure.
Does anybody know what a Gaga ball court is? It just-
It's a game, these kids, it's sort of like a dodgeball game, but it's inside like an octagon almost. And there are different types of Gaga ball courts. There are things that you can mount into the ground, and then there are temporary, it's like I said, it's almost like a little
Do
fenced
you
in.
remember those little octagon play yards where
Yes.
the big toddlers
It's
used to
kinda
have, where you keep them in there and they play and they couldn't get hurt?
Okay.
It's kind of like that.
But it's not very tall, it's
Right.
about just a barrier so the ball doesn't come out.
Gotcha.
The kids love it.
In a lot of the games, you throw the ball and you have the ball try not to hit you, to stay in.
Right.
If the ball hits you.
You're out, like dodgeball. So
Like
it's
a-
It's like a mini,
It's a mini dodgeball, yeah. Kids in the middle school.
Civilized.
Guess you're not dodgeball.
I play.
So, yes, that's what it is.
Mr. Frito, can I leave this here? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have approached the bench here. I didn't look at my daughter in college.
Okay. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for doing that.
Take care.
Anybody else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Ms. Traglia?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Yes. Motion carries. Claims, Ms. Cox, please.
In accordance with NJAC 6A:23-2:11B, C3, and C4, I approved the bills for this month. I had a number of questions. Trudy was very timely in her responses, even though I said don't rush. She rushed from home and got all of the answers to me. And I had a second wave of bills come in because of the snow day. But in any event, everything is in order, so on behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Mr. Traglia?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mrs. Chiara?
Abstain on vendor number 3996. Yes with prejudice on vendor numbers 2875 and 2882. Yes on all others. Building and grounds, Mr. Doyle.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Buildings and Grounds recommends the following resolutions. On page 8, BG 34, carrying over to the top of page 9, followed by BG 35 through BG 37. On behalf of the committee, I so move.
Second.
Discussion?
I have just something real quick. I just want to note that we did already approve the cheerleading awards, but they were at the high school, but it got moved because of the, having to have the sports awards there. So it's just a change in venue.
Anybody else? Roll call, please.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Mr. Traglia?
Yes.
Mr. Turco? Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Mrs. Chiara?
Yes. For the committee and liaison reports, I know the standing committees did not have meetings this month, but I wanted to give an opportunity to each of the chairs to see if they want to say something. So as I go around, if you don't, that's fine, just no report. If you do, please do share. So with that being said, Building and Grounds and Board of Rec, Mr. Doyle.
Nothing to report.
Surprise, surprise. Very good, thank you. Finance Administration, Mr. Clavijo.
Yes, I have something. As far as the audit, we're waiting on, the auditors are still waiting on the state to finalize those numbers. Once those numbers are in, the auditors can complete their report. Trudy is setting up, having the auditors come and present to the Finance Committee at our next Finance Committee meeting. It's going to be at 4:30 p.m. So Trudy's working on confirming that. Also, believe it or not, it's already budget development time for the 2019-2020 school year. Months of November and December, the administration works out the budgets with the different departments, and then in the month of January, they'll present it to the Finance Committee. That's it.
I want to ask a question of Ms. Engel. Knowing that the state has held up their end and it's pushed back the auditors, is there a time that we need to have all this information?
Usually it's December 5th, I have to submit everything, they've extended it 2 weeks, December 5th.
They did give us an extension.
Right.
Okay.
It's a statute,
But
so-
they're not finished though. Yeah,
The auditor is finished, he has everything completed, he's just waiting, he can't present because he needs these numbers to put into his audit. But that doesn't affect our numbers, everything's.
Okay, thank you so much. Council Liaison, Mr. Taraki.
No report.
Okay, thank you very much. Curriculum Instruction and Policies, Ms. Scott.
We did not meet this month, obviously, but in lieu of a meeting, Mr. Spirito sent us a few notes that I'd like to share. We are very excited to share that Mrs. Pasquale, in assistance with an anonymous donor, has purchased drones, or will be purchasing drones to be used at the high school. There will be 4 mini drones and controllers, as well as 4 7-inch video monitors, and a 1-year free access to the STEM drones curriculum. She's using these drones with the existing math club at the high school. Also a very exciting opportunity that Mr. Reicher and I will be attending. There is free Google training at the Hawthorne Public Library. Hawthorne will be partnering with Rich Kuiper, am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay. For Google training in March and into the 2019-2020 school year. In light of this new partnership, Rich has offered to provide a free training to the staff and participants from other districts as well, and there was an email sent. He will be hosting the training in December, actually December 17th, at the public library, and there is expected to be about 50 people in attendance. Passaic County districts were all invited to come. Also, the We Video pilot program, Mr. Reicher did offer a contact, which proved to be very beneficial. We were able to acquire 1,300 student licenses and 30 teacher licenses for the remainder of this school year. Mr. Livingston, the broadcasting teacher, will be providing training for any teachers at the high school who wish to utilize We Video. And lastly, but certainly not least, We are now partnering with Gravity Goldberg Literacy Consultant in lieu of our Professor in Residence program. The consultant is Dana Clark, and she will begin working at each of our elementary schools with our K-5 teachers on Writer's Workshop. She'll be providing coaching and modeling of lessons for all K-5 staff. We look forward to her beginning in November.
Great, thank you, Village. For HEF, CPAC, and PTOs, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick update, CPAC held their annual Zumba event. It wasn't well attended, but they were able to raise a few $100s. There's a couple more events coming up in January, but I'll bring that up in the December meeting. I'll get more details on that. And then as for HEF, the Krispy Kreme pickup has changed from Tuesday, it changed to Tuesday, December 4th at Lincoln Middle School from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Pick up your Krispy Kremes. And last but not least, we have the annual HEF movie day, the day after Thanksgiving. It's always been a really great event. 3 really good movies. If you didn't already get tickets, it's okay. You can show up, bring your family, drop your kids off, go shopping, do whatever you need to do. That is Friday at the Hawthorne Library, at the Hawthorne Movie Theater, 23rd, day after Thanksgiving, at 9:45 a.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. For legislative, Ms. Sanford.
I do not have a report this month.
Thank you very much. And in Mr. Berto's absence, we have no Passaic County School Board's report. Public be heard. Seeing no one, moving on our agenda. General comments and questions from the board related to the school district. Yes.
I'm looking for the date. I thought it was December 7th, but I don't think that's accurate. The second annual Treps sale will be, if I come up, I thought it was December 7th.
No,
But
hold on.
it is now being held at Roosevelt, which is very exciting.
Yes.
Last year it was in Lincoln, and,
Hold on, let me have it.
December 11th?
is it? I thought I had it written down, and now I.
December 11th, 6:30 to 8:30.
Okay, perfect.
They have a Facebook page.
I was just, I couldn't find the search bar, thank you, it does take a village. So I invite everyone to attend. I don't personally have a 5th grader in it this year, I had a 5th grader who was in it last year, but it was extremely exciting to see all of their entrepreneurship, so if you're looking for some holiday gifts.
What was the time?
December 11th.
6:30.
And Roosevelt is the venue.
Anyone else?
Real quick, and I know it's already been discussed, but I just want to extend a very big congratulations to all our student athletes on fall sports. Very successful seasons in almost all of our sports, and we provided for some very, very exciting games for us to watch. They should all be very proud of their accomplishments, and I'm looking forward to the next season.
Mr. Doyle.
Just want to take you back on the open house. There's some good tweaks this year on presentations. I like the way we had it come out through the front of the auditorium. So that was great because it forces you to go through the courtyard. There was a guitar being played. There was you have the band on the left-hand side, and then you go through the broadcasting thing. So I thought that was great. And presentations, I mean, there's positive tweaks. So just want to comment on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought Mr. Cunningham and Ms. Weger, especially, I thought she did a great job.
Absolutely.
She presents so well. So, thank you.
I'm sorry I missed that conflict. I'm sure
There'll be another one next year, don't worry.
No, I'm sure some board members will fill me in and give me some details. If nobody else has anything else, I have one thing. We've been invited to once again walk in the Santa Parade. And I have to have an answer to make a tally by tomorrow. So I need to have a show of hands. It's for, let's see, Saturday morning, December 1st at 10 a.m., lining up on Ray Avenue, like we usually do. So anybody who's interested in attending? Two?
I'll be hunting Santa's reindeer.
That's
so-
right, you're always something. I'll be doing it too.
I'm a maybe.
Or maybe anybody else? I know Victor cannot.
I'll be in Hershey.
Hershey.
I'll be away too.
Okay. So I guess Mrs. Frida, you?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell her yes, there'll be a handful of us to come.
What was that time again? What time lineup?
10 a.m., 9:30 is lineup. 10 a.m. starts the parade. And it's on Saturday.
On Ray Up,
On Ray Ave, yeah.
are you bringing the Santa hats? Red noses?
No, but you're
The
more
reindeer
welcome.
horns?
welcome.
Oh, I
Hey, listen,
will.
if you
Oh, I
wanna
will.
bring, if you wanna bring your kids, more than welcome. I know,
We're
Ms.
camping
Cavil
that weekend,
had,
so.
I'm gonna need the banner, I guess, back from, Mr. Cavil.
I'll be there.
He's the gatekeeper, the banner holder.
Thanks, Michelle.
What do we got?
And we do have to work on getting the banner, too. I think it's a little bit beaded. All right, anything else from anybody? New business? Old business?
Oh, I have new business.
Oh,
I
okay.
think, I'm trying to find the
Oh,
right
we're
spot
still-
for these
yeah.
things. Okay,
It's a puzzle piece, you know.
all right, I think this is the right fit. To the security team, I highly encourage you to visit the schools or try to visit them at varying times of the day. I know that many of you probably have not seen, Tanya and Bruce have, but have not seen drop-off at Roosevelt in the morning. It is very unique and it is very different from how it is done at Jefferson. And I highly encourage you to go because it causes me a great amount of anxiety. Also, one last comment on the calendar. Possibly maybe doing November 1st, the Friday, and then Monday, Wednesday, because if we do two, I'm just worried if we do 2 Mondays, someone who works on a Monday would have the same conflict both days.
1, 4, 6.
And then you have a full 2 weeks of full days, just throwing that out there.
Okay.
So 1, 4, 6 might be another option.
For the record,
Did I do it wrong?
this was definitely old business because we talked about it.
No, but it's a previous agenda.
No, it could be on this agenda too. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
It's not.
I'll keep note of that again, try again next time.
I thought you had it.
I thought it.
I was waiting for him to say
It
something.
was good, but
I thought you got it, that's
if
why.
we talked about it on this agenda or previous agenda, it would be old business. Not a big deal.
Just insert me somewhere on there and I'll just say everything I have to say at once because I don't know.
You're fine. You'll be fine. Okay. Let's see, private session, be
No, I have a
reserved.
piece of old business too.
Oh, you
I
do?
didn't say old business.
Oh, you do too? Okay, my apologies. Go right ahead.
Where are we with the creation of the sick bank?
It's created.
Okay, because I did see it appear in the,
So
One of the
we
bills.
established a sick bank.
okay,
We've already had someone request days.
Good.
Those days
So
have been
we're-
granted.
we're feeling good, we're up and running, and we
Yes.
don't need any input, because we had talked about possibly having to have a team of people to look at it, to
No,
look
so
at the
we have a
dates.
committee. It's myself, Ms. Engel, Mr. Sciarra, and then there's three representatives from the HTA.
Okay, I'm
So
glad
we
we
had-
can get that off the ground as
Yeah,
quickly as we did.
it's already, the guidelines are established, everything's organized. We had people donate days, and like I said, we had, unfortunately, we had one person who did request days, and those days.
We didn't know that, so I'm happy that we were sort of working backwards, and I'm happy that that was able to come to fruition quickly.
It's all established.
Okay. I'm officially done.
Questions about the election next year? So it's calendar related. Being that schools are closed, what would be responsible for any security for that day? Because this year we were.
We were
put that bill.
responsible, we paid for the police officers to be there, obviously as well as our own retired officers who were in the schools at the front doors. I mean, that would be up to us if we decided to, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't think we should be responsible
No.
for it if our kids aren't there. I mean, we're still gonna close off, we'll still lock off the building as much as we can. We're gonna limit access to the building, but, I mean, to me, that should be the town's responsibility if we're at school.
Well, I'm just looking at other polling stations, they don't have any type of security there. So if the areas is limited to where they can vote, you might just,
Well, that's what we tried to gate, even at the high school, we actually gated off that auditorium floor, we put a gate. So we're gonna try to do that, just like we do at Roosevelt in the hallways, we put those gates up. We'll do that in all the schools anyway, regardless if there's kids there or not, to prevent people from walking through the building. The better part, I should say, the nice part about not having kids in the schools, we can, as find other locations that are maybe more, like, for example, at the high school. Instead of, if the kids aren't there, instead of using the auditorium foyer, I'll have them use 123, because you can enter right from the electronic sign, and there's a handicap ramp there and everything. People can go right in that door and vote in that room 123. And this way, because right now in the auditorium foyer, they do have to come, any handicapped people have to come in the back door, because there's no handicap access in the front. So, if that's what I'm saying, if there's no kids in the school, we can control where it is and keep it contained, I guess is a better way to say it, I don't know.
I was at Washington School at the end of the night, and there was conferences then,
Yes.
the school. So there was some confusion, because back, the parking lot is there, the door that has the light closest to the parking, so parents are coming in through there thinking that that's where the conferences were at, so it was.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, there's no way, I just don't see how we can be open going forward with elections in the schools, I just don't see how, and
No,
I don't get the impression that they're gonna be moved.
I agree.
I was just wondering, do we have to foot a bill for next year? But
Not as far as I'm concerned.
And I just paid that bill for this month.
Yes.
I don't know what it was.
About $3,000.
Yeah, it was not cheap.
That's expensive.
And I can attest, I dropped off my daughter at Roosevelt at 7:40 for before care, not even thinking I had to park 3 blocks away. For before care, it was a nightmare. I mean, a true, absolute, I've never seen anything like it.
the high school was rough too, right? I mean,
Yes.
it was.
It's good. Listen, it's just, we don't, the high school, Roosevelt, we don't have parking lots that
No.
people, the teachers can park that open up the streets for parents. Teachers are parking around the schools, kids at the high school. I mean, there's just, so the only way to avoid that is just to close the schools. And I hate to do it, but it is what it is.
And there's just no other place we can do it?
So, to go back to my initial conversation with them was that they were willing to look at other alternatives. They were open to that idea, because we talked about it last year at this time, and they said, well, we can't do anything for June, but for election day, we're gonna look at other places. According to them, there's certain requirements which include, it has to be a public place, it has to be handicap accessible, it has to be within 1,000 feet of the ward, according to what they're telling me, of the ward. So there's certain requirements that limits what you can do. But I said, so why can't, like for example, Jefferson votes at the ambulance building. Why can't Roosevelt vote at the firehouse, which is behind the ambulance building? They have a parking lot,
Right.
vote in there. Why can't somebody use the library? Whether it's Lincoln or the high school, why can't one of those places?
This building is closed on that day too.
I said you can have my office, so I'll empty my
I was
office out.
told it was due to limited parking, but my husband and I, we just moved, so we just started going to the ambulance corps. Previously, we went to Roosevelt. And when we got to the ambulance corps, there's not all that much parking there either. Does this mean, and then June is primaries again?
Yes.
So what do we do for primaries?
We did not close that day.
We
No,
didn't.
no.
So now are we talking about,
June 2nd, I think it is next year.
I'm sorry?
June 2nd, I think it is.
I think you're right. It's
Yeah.
It's Tuesday.
early in
So,
June,
yes.
yes.
You don't have
Yeah,
anything.
we didn't, I don't know.
One year when we had extra snow days,
We closed.
we closed.
I think it was 2 years ago.
We did.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. I
We had an
remember
extra
that.
snow
It
day,
was
we
2 years
closed on
ago.
that day. But that's up
To
in the
build,
air
right,
every year.
to build it into the calendar now.
Hopefully, if we have an extra day, we can definitely do that again, but if we don't, I don't know the answer.
Otherwise, for that primary, we have to hire police officers.
Yes. I don't feel comfortable if we don't.
So roughly, based on this being 3,000, it's gonna be another $6,000.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it was 800 a school.
The other thing we could do, just a thought, if we can't close, and it doesn't solve the problem, but it help, we could do a half day, which would get everybody out sooner.
Yeah,
That's another option, and that, the day would still count. We can still make that change.
and there's no lunch being served.
No
there's-
lunch, so we don't have to worry about kids going into the cafeterias or gyms to eat. And so that's another option. We could do that this year if we don't have extra snow day. We could say we're going to do the primary, we're going to have that one session day.
Since we have no choice in the voting process, we have no choice, it has to be there, why can't the town pick up some of the extra security? They won't pick up, they're not giving us an option.
Yes, the option is they said we should close, that's the option.
Their option is, their feeling was, I spoke to them, believe me, even the day of, I spoke to the mayor, and he said, my suggestion to you is close the school.
Is he taking all the emails from all the parents who want to be here, don't want to be here until June 25th? To close for 2 extra days?
So I explained, I've explained, we've had numerous conversations, and I've explained to them that we don't have the luxury of just closing whenever we want to close. We have a certain requirement we have to meet. It's hard enough to meet that requirement without going late into June.
So the issue of sharing costs is not going to happen?
Sorry.
No, it only seems to be logical.
I don't disagree.
Mr. President,
Yes.
just a couple of general comments that I'd like to make. I don't know where that's sliding, but if you don't mind.
We missed it.
Missed it.
It's all right, I know.
We'll rewind for you.
I was,
We'll just tape it, you rewind the tape for
I was
us.
sleeping in the
You
corner.
had impeccable timing before, so we'll let you slide.
Yeah. Just a couple things. I'd like to congratulate Abby and Tanya again for winning and being part of the board again. And also reach out to Marco Totaro in the back. Congratulations. We're looking forward to having you up here. And Victor, I know you still have another meeting to come to, but
Yes.
so congratulations and thank you for all your time you've given over the years.
It's been a privilege, really.
And I'd also like to thank all the board members for their thoughts and prayers and condolences for our family's loss. And we would like to thank, wish you guys all a happy Thanksgiving and hopefully enjoy this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. That's it? Okay.
Private session. Be it resolved that the Hawthorne Board of Education conveys an executive session to discuss exempt matters pertaining to personnel and HIV. Be it further resolved that it is anticipated the executive session, the executive session will be for 45 minutes in duration and that public action may or may not be taken. Be further resolved that the minutes of the executive session will be made available upon determination by the board that disclosure of the minutes will not be detrimental, affect any right or interest of the board, and the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mr. Turco?
I didn't hear the motion.
So I will abstain.
Mr. Clavijo?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Palooz?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Mrs. Garrett?
Yes.